everyone. I wanted to just do a little video for you. I was walking, I had a lot of clients today, and also was putting the final touches for this week's masterclass, From Shedding to Shining, Embodying Your Sovereign Helper Self. And so I needed to take a walk right now. Sorry, I'm a little out of breath. I've been walking for a while now. I hadn't planned to do this video, but I was like, no, this is important. So I'm gonna do a little side teaching, and then I'm gonna talk about shining. So on the way here, I was feeling, just at the beginning of my walk, just kind of like angst and anxiety. Not like a ton of anxiety, but just like, you know, that low grade anxiety. And I was like, what is the thought creating this anxiety? So that's a really important question for you to ask yourself, right? So much of coaching yourself or getting coached is bringing awareness, like not just going on automatic. So when I asked that question, I realized that my thoughts were something along the lines of, I'm falling behind. I thought I would be further ahead. I'm specifically talking about tasks that I need to do this week. You know, I need to rush. I don't have time to rest. And I was like, why is this? Am I having those thoughts? And I realized it was because Greg started chemo again last week. So we're going every Monday. And you know how you have your schedule set, and when some little thing gets added, well, this is not such a little thing, but when something gets added, it just has like a ripple effects on your schedule. And often I don't realize how much it's going to be, right? So because now on Monday mornings, instead of being home for, you know, usually on Mondays I don't see clients. It's when I really work on my administrative stuff, writing my emails, writing my newsletter, planning my podcast, all of that. I don't have that now. And so it's like, it just has this domino effect, right? It's like, oh, now I have to do it on Tuesday, and then that created some other things. And it just it's taking me a minute to like adjust, even though I thought, sorry, this is probably not good practice to cross the street while I'm doing this. To adjust, right? To realize, oh, this was more, even though I thought I did, this was more. So once I had that conversation with myself, I was like, it's okay. And I really, because ultimately those thoughts were judgmental of myself, right? Like, why am I not more organized? Why is it feeling so rushed? Instead of just really seeing like, oh, that's why. I just added a whole other thing to my week, right? Has been added. And so then I was able to have compassion, and more importantly, I was able to remember, wait a minute, our soul operates outside of time. Like, I can set the intention that I'm not behind, even though circumstantially it might seem like I'm behind. I'm not, because there's going to be miracles. And I actually realized when I thought about the masterclass, you know, I was putting the finishing touches this morning, I realized, you know what, I think I actually created 2 masterclasses. Like, I could see in my head slides that I'm going to remove and leave for another masterclass that I'm going to have in a few weeks. So then I realized I'm really not behind. I'm actually ahead. So anyway, I want to share that mini teaching. First of all, awareness, to notice when you feel angst or out of sorts. Sometimes that's the hardest time to have awareness, because it's not super big, right? Like when you're really anxious, you might be like, oh my gosh, I gotta stop, I gotta breathe, you use all the tools. But when it's this little low grade just thing in your brain, you could just ignore it or just try to overcome it, or just like, but that's really important to pause during those times as well. So I'm gonna pause here. Well, maybe here, this wall may be prettier, I don't know. And what I was gonna talk about is shining, because that's what I was writing about today in the masterclass. You know, it's from shedding to shining. And so I really have been in like deep conversation with my soul, with Mother Mary, with all the divine beings that are shining all the time. What does it mean to shine from a spiritual perspective? What is that? I know we can say like, shine your light, but it's like, what does it mean? And realizing that when I said from shedding to shining, I didn't understand fully that I was describing a process that we're being guided to take. Now, this whole year has been the year of the snake, so there's been so much focus on shedding. But as we move to the next year, is this process from shedding to shining. I'm calling it the from shedding to shining process. Is literally a practice that we can do every day. And it's not meant to be heavy or hard or like, oh my gosh, that means I have to do all this deep inner work. No, it's really a process of allowing the shedding to shining process to happen, and to know that it's actually happening simultaneously. Especially next year, as it's a year one and a year of the fire horse. I'm going to do a masterclass around that. That's the second masterclass that I didn't realize I worked on today. And so I invite you, in preparation for Thursday, to start thinking about, what does it mean for you to shine? Like, before I give you my answers and my insights, which are not mine coming from my logical brain, they're coming from my soul, from the divine, right? Because as helpers, we are oracles, meaning that we do have access to the divine mind. It's not something special to me. We all have that. And so I invite you to tune in, like, what does it mean to shine? What aspects of myself are being called to shine? Like, how does that feel like in my body? What comes up for me when I think about shining? Do I feel excited? Do I feel joyful? Do I feel scared? Do I feel confused? Do I feel nervous? Just notice, just start to take inventory on that. Be really curious and be really compassionate. I hope you can hear all this. There's a lot of, this is kind of like beginning of rush hour over here. So I think that's where I want to leave it, just for you to start thinking of, first of all, what does it mean to shine to you? And to think about, like, oh, the from shedding to shining process. Like, what if that's a practice that I know how to do and can happen effortlessly? And because I bring conscious to it, it can happen, like, I know I said effortlessly, but with ease. It can happen in an accelerated way, but not from a sense of urgency. So if you're not signed up yet to the masterclass, please sign up. Join live so you can ask questions live there. But if you can't join live, join the replay. I will put the link, to register in the comments. And we do get the replay for 7 days. It's this Thursday, November 20th, 2025. It is from 2:30 to 4 Central Time. And it's going to be amazing. It's going to be so perfect to gather together and have this important conversation. And I'm going to do a mini teaching before I actually get to the content to help you integrate this into your life, because that's what I want. I don't, ultimately, these master classes, there's various goals and objectives I have for them. First and foremost, I want them to be valuable to you. I don't want them to just be content you consume. Like, oh, that's a great class, and it's just like consume. Never apply, never integrate, never take action, never actually transform your life. That's not what I'm interested in. I know you're not interested in that, right? It's like, no, it's like we take in the content to integrate and apply and transform our lives and step into your sovereign helper self. Okay, I'm gonna stop now for real, and see you soon. Bye.